we were able to engage these elections in two regards. The first, with funding from UNDP, was the Be Response Able campaign, where we managed to reach 4,000, just around about 4,000 Kenyans in 1 week across several matatus in Kajiado and Nairobi, to call on them to essentially be non-violent and to vote based on their conscience. But with Rockefeller, we were able to engage the post-election polarization that happened and engage very robustly some of the principals and their advisors, and work with some of the people that have really been trying to generate a mediated dialogue to the outcome of the elections. 1,300 school titles, not bad, 1,000. And Florence Annan and Morris and predecessors really have worked so hard to make sure that schools are safe across the Republic. 50 reclamations of schools, including Lavington Primary School, not more than 2 kilometers from here. But as of yesterday, we were head-to-head with the Kenyan Navy of all institutions that somehow think over Jamhuri Day they can walk into a school and excise acres and acres of Mweza Primary and Secondary School in order to get a beach front plot for, it's not clear what at the moment. But we spent quite a bit of Jamhuri Day and yesterday morning essentially reaching everybody and their relative. We even spoke to God, and it has been declared that this will not happen in our lifetime. We also got a cabinet policy that all education institutions, both primary, secondary, and tertiary, could get free surveying, so they would be surveyed at no cost at all by the government in 2016. And of course, Langata produced, the Langata Road Primary School Reclamation produced the presidential directive that says that all schools should receive universal titling. On the health side, I think this has been a struggle. It's been difficult, and I appreciate Mete's offer to us. And I think if we were continuing, we would definitely take it up, because I think the right to health and public health care is probably one of the, first of all, it's one of the 4 important priorities of this government. And for them to return to the polls 5 years from now, they will have to deliver on this promise. So corruption will stop that dead in its tracks. So it is really important. But we've seen some wonderful things. The EACC unfortunately couldn't come this morning, but we loved seeing them take up our market price index study that we did in 2015 and use that as the basis for a health systems review. We would have liked for them to have shared that health systems review with the public, and perhaps we'll still get a copy and share it a bit more broadly than it is currently being shared. We also saw the reform of the procurement authority as a result of that particular study. When we come to civic space protection, I am still left with a sense of foreboding. We have not transformed the relationship between the state and civil society. We have an act that is now 4 years into a non-commencement, if I can put it that way. We've had a number of deregistrations, even the recent future. But I think the thing we can be proud of is that we've been able to stop 5 hostile amendments to the PBO Act before it was commenced. And also we managed to support with Suba and colleagues here with the CSO reference group, no less than, I think it was 900 deregistrations that were somehow cooked up overnight and delivered to the country. But fortunately were reversed as a result of our pressure. So I think there are a number of things that we can be proud of. Looking forward, I think for many of us, we have already started to think about the new year. I'm very happy to announce and to thank Transparency International for accepting to take on the secretariat of the Shule Yangu campaign. So that work will continue, hosted by Transparency International. And we are in fairly advanced conversations with the Dutch embassy to ensure that their funding and support for school protection continues for the next year, but it will do so under the auspices of Transparency International.
We join everybody who has commended the work of Chapter 1, and let me also, of course, say that this Public Relations Society of Kenya has very good judgment in picking out Chapter 1. I just now learned, we're glad, of course, that Chapter 1 has made us as a donor proud, because you get the wrong companies, get the wrong contracts for too much money. The quality of services is being affected, and markedly also health, schooling, you name them. So in the end, you would say that the effect is so much bigger than just the real money that is involved. That makes it a huge phenomenon, this corruption, and tackling it here in Kenya is a daunting task and sometimes even a dangerous task. So in that sense, I think Chapter 1 and all the other colleagues who have been involved earn a lot of praise. I find also corruption, besides being huge, also rather cynical. The fact that corruption affects health services, that land is taken from schools, that people are being deprived from access to certain services. But also, mind you, that certain people who have been convicted of economic crime can run for office. That obviously is, I think, a very cynical part and feature of corruption. There's this Indian saying that fish starts rotting in the head. I'm afraid that's very much the case. If our rulers, if people in government are not straight and fair, then the whole system under them is also less inclined to be honest and not corrupt. The Netherlands is very much in support of anti-corruption actions and the various things we do besides supporting NGOs that are very active on this score. We also have, for instance, the rule, or the law rather, that any Dutch company who engages in corruption abroad is still, can still be prosecuted back home in the Netherlands. That is a strong measure, because we, if some Dutch company runs into trouble in Kenya and they come to the embassy for help, then usually we go to, let's say, the institution that is causing the trouble and say, well, if you're waiting for a bribe, you can wait for a long time, because this company would rather lose its business in Kenya than being prosecuted in the Netherlands.
By Caroline is really our gift to the country. It captures all the policy briefs, all the exposés we've done on corruption, a lot of the links to our work, much of which is not just our work, but really the work of the 3 alliances that we have worked with, and that is the Shule Yangu Alliance, the National Integrity Alliance, and then also the Civil Society Reference Group. So I'm going to ask Ndegwa to basically cut the ribbon, hoping that he will inspire other citizens like himself to use it. Hold on a sec. Okay.
So you can visit the website now. It's going to remain active. It is fully paid for the next 5 years. So feel free to upload your blogs, to upload your toolkits, to check for resources from media, all our research work, and let's make use of it. So congratulations, Chapter 1. So the address is www.chapter1ke.org. www.chapter1ke